I'm Derek Walker, the pastor of the Oxford Bible Church, and I've been asked really a few times about the COVID vaccination. Obviously, this is a very current issue, and because there are lots of things flying around the internet and social media, um, from Christian sources, claiming that this, well, one extreme one is really that to take this vaccination is essentially to take the mark of the beast and lose your salvation, or perhaps another one is that it will change your DNA, and I suppose the implication is it will make you less than human, and make you somehow beyond salvation. And so there is a number of kind of, if you like, scare stories about the vaccination. And because often they come from people claiming to be spiritual experts, I think it's important to address that issue. One problem we face is because if those of us who are believers, we do believe in the Bible's end time scenario. We do believe that indeed there are sinister forces at work, and that this world is heading toward a climax, which we call the tribulation, which is described in the book of Revelation. And ultimately, there will be this kind of one world government that will be totalitarian. It will be taken over by the Antichrist. And the Antichrist will bring in, halfway through the tribulation, which the Bible indicates will be about 7 years, he will bring in halfway through those 7 years what's called the mark of the beast. And anyone who takes the mark of the beast will be lost forever. It's quite clear about that. So, on the one hand, we know that's true, and we know that things are moving that way. But the danger for believers is, I would say, on the one hand, we need to be open and aware of potentially dangerous things taking place, and we need to resist what is wrong. But on the other hand, there can be a tendency towards paranoia in terms of every new development taking place is of the devil, and of course the vaccine is one example. And so now we're in a state where any new thing is automatically there's a conspiracy theory surrounding it. So we do need to be careful not just to buy into everything. We need to judge everything on its own message, and we do have to be cautious, because otherwise there is a danger that many of these things actually just create fear and despondency in people and take our eyes off Christ. So, there was a conspiracy thing about 5G. Now, no doubt there might be safety issues around 5G, but people were saying the virus isn't a real virus. It's really just 5G causing this. A lot of silly stuff, actually, scientifically silly. But people would buy into it because perhaps they feel very vulnerable at this time. And what I'm saying is we do have to be discerning. Now, concerning the issue, first of all, is this vaccine the mark of the beast? I would absolutely say no, because we are not there yet. All right. Apart from anything else, we're not in the tribulation because the rapture has to happen first. So we're not at the time of the mark of the beast. But let me just point out what the mark of the beast is. If you go to Revelation 13, where the mark of the beast is mentioned 3 times primarily, and each time it's mentioned in association with the image of the beast. And putting the two things together, what we're told is that to get the mark of the beast, you don't get it by accident or by, taking a vaccine, and now you've been tricked into taking the mark of the beast. It doesn't work like that. Those who take the mark of the beast are those who worship the beast, and they worship his image. In other words, anyone who will take the mark of the beast, they have to reject God, and they have to embrace and swear their loyalty, absolute loyalty, to the Antichrist. then they are allowed to take the mark of the beast, which will allow them to buy or sell. So in other words, you don't accidentally take the mark of the beast. It is a spiritual. The reason you are damned is not because you happen to have a tattoo on you or whatever it might be. It's because of, in order to take that mark, you have to renounce God and embrace the Antichrist. And let me show you that in the three main scriptures. First of all, Revelation 13. It's talking about the false prophet. Verse 15, it says, he was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast. Notice, this is an image for worship. That the image of the beast should speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. So if you don't worship the Antichrist, you're under the sentence of death. He causes all, verse 16, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads. That's the mark of the beast. That no one can buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So when you swear loyalty, and then it says his number is 666. When you swear loyalty to the Antichrist, you get marked. And that mark is the sign that you now belong to the Antichrist, body and soul. And then that marks you out for damnation. Okay, now we see the same thing in the next chapter, Revelation chapter 14, verse 9. It says, the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if anyone worships the beast and his image, and receives his mark on his forehead or on his hand, he himself shall also drink of the wine of the wrath of God, poured out in full strength in the cup of his indignation. He'll be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascends forever, and they will have no rest day or night who worship the beast and his image, whoever receives the mark of his name. That makes it absolutely clear that to receive the mark of the beast, you are a worshipper of the beast. All right. So if you just take a vaccine, this has got nothing at all to do with the mark of the beast at all. It's utter nonsense. All right. Those who take the mark are those who worship the beast, and as a result, they will be damned forever. All right. So, and then finally, Revelation 20, verse 4, talks about the resurrection of, I saw the souls of those who had been beheaded for their witness to Jesus and for the word of God, who had not worshipped the beast or his image, and had not received his mark on their foreheads or on their hands. So again, taking the mark is connected with worshipping the beast. So we can absolutely dismiss the idea that this vaccine or any such thing is the mark of the beast. It's absolute nonsense. It's biblical foolishness. Okay, let's make that very clear. All right, so the issue is, should I take this vaccine? Well, what I would say is there's another bit of incorrect information that's been put out by some people, which is that this vaccine changes your DNA. Again, that isn't. I've checked on this with Christian doctors and so forth, and this is absolutely not true. It does not change your DNA. The Oxford vaccine doesn't change your DNA, but what it does, it's called an RNA vaccine, which means a little piece of RNA is put in, and this RNA is provides code to create an antigen. This is something that stimulates the immune response from the body because it looks similar to the virus, and so it kind of triggers the body's immune response. But it absolutely is not a change of the DNA. I think the thinking is it changes our DNA and makes us less than human, but that's absolutely not the case. Okay, so that idea needs to be rejected. So whether we take the vaccine or not, first of all, what we should purely be on other grounds than these kind of spiritual scare stories. You need to pray about it. You need to see if you have God's peace about it. Generally speaking, I'm not against vaccines, I would say, although some people can have a bad reaction to a vaccine. On the whole, Vaccines over the last 100 years have saved multitudes of lives. So I don't believe there's something that is evil of themselves. And so I wouldn't say that on principle you shouldn't take this vaccine. But the problem is with a vaccine. If I was going to, it has been tested and it seems to be, pretty good. And it would seem that the only way out of this situation, as far as the world's concerned, is that sufficient number of people gets vaccinated. So I do think generally that's good. What we don't know, of course, is that because it's a brand new vaccine, sometimes there can be side effects that only manifest years later. And so it's impossible to be absolutely assured, that there won't be any negative side effects 5 years later of some sort. You just can't know about that at this point. So again, it's a matter for prayer. You have to balance, as in life generally, you have to balance risks. It's not you shouldn't base your decision on a conspiracy theory, but you should nevertheless make your own judgment, considering the risk, primarily considering as God leads you in your heart, what is your risk from the COVID virus versus potential risks from side effects down the line of having taken the vaccine, which are probably very small, but they are unknown. That's all I would say. And so, as in life, we have to make that kind of decision before the Lord. So part of me kind of wants to wait a little bit just to make sure that there isn't any kind of negative developments with the vaccine that haven't been anticipated at the moment. But I wouldn't. I'm not telling you to take the vaccine or not take the vaccine, but pray about it for yourself, as you would for any vaccine that is there. This vaccine is only different in that other vaccines have been around for years, so the potential downfalls are well known, whereas we don't really know about these vaccines. But on the other hand, it does obviously seem to offer protection for many people, and for many people that is the crucial thing, particularly if you are, in one of the vulnerable groups. It would seem to make sense. So again, I just want to take the heat out of that issue by just saying, make your decision before the Lord as you would decide concerning any vaccine. Okay, and don't be in fear about the fact that it might turn you into a transhuman, or it might mean that you're eternally damned because you've accidentally taken the mark of the beast. I just wanted to allay your fears that way. Just make your decision before God and follow the peace of God as far as you're concerned. So that's essentially what I want to say about that. I do not believe that this vaccine is of a sinister nature. That's my opinion. Whether there are deeper currents going on, plans to use this whole thing for a globalized agenda, I don't know. Maybe there are, but that doesn't change the fact that this vaccine has been produced to deal with the immediate issue of this virus. I see no reason to doubt that straightforward reality, that the nations are very keen to get this virus under control so that they can get back to normal life. There isn't any reason to see sinister things beyond that. So again, for what it's worth, that's my view on the subject of this vaccine. I'm not saying, again, that there are not sinister things going on under the surface and so on, but I do say that where conspiracy theories are concerned, we mustn't just jump into accepting every conspiracy theory just because it kind of fits with our end times narrative. All right, that doesn't make it true. All right, we need to be evidence-based. There needs to be good evidence rather than just buying into everything that supports our narrative of the way we imagine end time events playing out. Because the way that end time events may play out and the way that evil works is often more subtle than we realize. So we can misjudge situations very, very easily. Well, that's enough. So God bless you. Amen.